Welcome everyone to another action figure comparison as we take a look at the Batman, the 2022 movie version, with the Bandai Tamashinitions S.H. Figuarts on the left and comparing it with the Medicom Mafex version on the right. So made by two of the biggest companies currently on the market for the 1/12 scale. They were released around a year apart. So I'm going to be comparing kind of the overall look, the suit, the gadgets, the unmasked head sculpt, the weapons, and of course giving you my verdict on which one is my favorite. So let's begin by taking a quick look at the packaging. So both of them come in their standard size box, with the S.H. Figuarts being slightly smaller than the Mafex one, and this is normally due to Mafex including a display stand as well as a lot more accessories. But in terms of the presentation, they are both quite similar as they both use the theme of the movie with the black and red colors, and of course we have the usual logos at the front. And notice the S.H. Figuarts one does use a real shot of the character like they normally do, whereas the Mafex one uses a photo of the figure. But in terms of the look, I do like both of them. So here are the two Batman figures once again side by side, with the S.H. Figuarts on the left and the Mafex version on the right. So first impressions, I'll say both of them are sculpted pretty well in terms of the way the suit looks. I think both of them are pretty accurate to the source in my opinion. Of course, when we take a closer look at the details, there are some differences. But in terms of the first glance, I would say there isn't a major difference compared to say some previous SHF and Mafex figures. If both of these figures were on a display in the right pose, I think it would take a few seconds to really guess which is which. Of course, when you do put them side by side, you can kind of tell there is a slight difference in the size. Mafex, as usual, has always been slightly bigger in terms of the proportions. So putting them side by side, you can see it is slightly taller, and even front to front as well as back to back. And both of these Batmans, of course, pretty detailed when it comes to the suit. I think over the years, a lot of the Batman figures in terms of their costumes have been a lot more simple. This one is a lot more detailed, especially around the utility belt area. And you can see that both of them are kind of similar, but there's also slight differences. I would need to really study the movie again or the photos to really know which one is a bit more accurate. And then also the chest area, I think both of them are sculpted really well. And obviously the main difference is the cape. So a lot of people did complain about the S.H. Figuarts one, where they've kind of used like a hard plastic for the top half, and then the rest of it is a soft cloth. So obviously it wasn't the best idea to do something like this, because it does kind of limit the articulation, not only on the head sculpt, but the arms as well. And I think it just doesn't look as good when you do have like a half plastic, half soft cloth. Whereas the Mafex one, of course, they kind of use all one material and it's done a lot better. You can see the shine on it. I think the materials is a lot better as well. And there's also a band on the side as well as kind of all over the cape to give the shape of it. And overall, even the collar part, of course, there's no hard plastic used, but inside it is kind of sculpted really well. And I think it just makes the head sculpts look a lot better as well on the Mafex one. I think proportion wise, it does actually seem a bit more accurate on the Mafex. S.H. Figuarts one, I think the head sculpt is slightly too small compared to the body. So proportion wise, I think it's not as good. And because of this kind of hard plastic, you can't really see the neck on the SHF version. The S.H. Figuarts one does look a bit basic in terms of the eyes. Whereas the Mafex version, I think it looks a little bit more focused. And I think the jaw is sculpted probably a bit more accurate to the movie as well. So you can see the full details. So in terms of like the first impressions, obviously I would say that the Mafex one is slightly more accurate, but that's not to say that the S.H. Figuarts one is bad either. I just feel that the hard plastic cape is the only kind of major thing that I don't like, and I think the head proportion could be slightly better to the body. Next up, let's take a look at the alternative accessories with the unmasked head sculpts, so the look of Bruce Wayne. And I think it's kind of personal preference what you prefer. I think both of them are sculpted pretty well and are quite accurate to the source. In my opinion, I think the Mafex one probably looks slightly more better compared to the SHF. But of course, the instant difference is the S.H. Figuarts one does have the eyeshadow or eye makeup, which is what we saw in the movie. Whereas this Mafex one, I'm not sure why they've included it. This is more of a look of Bruce Wayne. Of course, it is kind of a bonus to have this. You could say that this is before he gets ready as Batman. But in terms of what we saw in the film, of course, the S.H. Figuarts one does get right. But as for the accuracy of head sculpts, I think both of them do look good. but I would say that the Mafex one looks slightly more like the Bruce Wayne. Which does bring me on to the alternative head sculpt that the Mafex one does include, and that is this time with the eye makeup. So as you can see, the hairstyle is also slightly different. This is taken from a scene in the movie when he removes the cowl, and you do get this look. Obviously, I do prefer this one over the original unmasked head sculpt, and when you pair them up together now, I would say that the Mafex one is a bit more accurate as well. Obviously, the hairstyle is slightly different. It is personal preference what you prefer. The S.H. Figuarts one kind of has a more flattened hair, it's slightly more slick, whereas this one, of course, is for that particular scene. So looking at them, you can see both of them are good in their own way. But once again, I think Mafex, because it includes this extra one, probably slightly edges it over the S.H. Figuarts one. And one other bonus accessory for the Mafex one, it does include the cowl on its own, which is something the S.H. Figuarts did not include. And obviously this is once again taken from the scene of the movie when he removes the cowl, and this is paired up really nicely with the second unmasked head sculpt. And it doesn't stop there for the alternative head sculpt for Mafex. It does include an extra one with the cowl, which is obviously the angry face, which is going to be paired up well with some of the accessories, which I'll show you later on. So whilst the S.H. Figuarts one only includes 2 total head sculpts, the Mafex one has 4 in total. Moving on to the hand accessories, both of the figures include a set of fisted hands right out of the packaging. As for the alternative ones, the S.H. Figuarts includes 5 extra sets, and for the Mafex one it includes 8 extra sets. So a total of 12 hands for S.H. Figuarts and a total of 18 for Mafex. And now moving on to the gadgets. So one of his main kind of weapons that he used is the grapple launchers in the movie when he escapes from the police station. So for the S.H. Figuarts version, it does already include launchers connected to both the arms. So what you do is you kind of just remove them out of the gauntlet, whereas the Mafex version, you cannot remove the launchers from the arms. You do actually have to replace the whole thing, which I'm going to do now. So here is the alternative look with both the launchers in hand. So this is the pose when he takes down the Riddlers in the final battle. So as I said before, for the S.H. Figuarts version, you do have to remove both the launchers in the arms, and then you replace the alternative ones in the hand. And then for the Mafex one, it's slightly different. You actually do have to change both the arm guards out, which is the one without the launchers, and then he holds on to the alternative piece. So it's kind of like a different look in terms of the way it's been played around, but of course both kind of give you the same outcome. Of course, both the figures also include the bat knife in hand, which is one of the most memorable scenes in the movie when he sacrifices himself. Also take note that the bat knife has been removed from the chest area, as both figures have a alternative armor piece to be switched up. And in terms of both of them, they do look good, but I'll have to give it to the Mafex one slightly because of the alternative head sculpt. I think it just kind of livens it up when you match it with the bat knife, whereas the S.H. Figuarts just kind of has that same look. And this is when the difference kicks in with the accessories, as the S.H. Figuarts one includes a set of handcuffs and the Mafex one includes a gun. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember Batman using any of these gadgets in the movies. I know after the Penguin car chase, he does kind of lock him up, so you could say that these handcuffs were kind of used for it. And this is apparently a sticky bomb gun, but I don't really remember any scenes of Batman using it. But of course in the past, in the comics and the movies, he's always had some sort of grappler gun, so I always prefer this kind of look. Of course both are kind of nice accessories as a bonus, but in terms of what I prefer, I do like the Mafex one. And an extra in terms of the accessory is that if you're not using the grappler or the sticky bomb gun, you can actually place this different one into the leg, because this one doesn't include the gun at the moment. So when you're not using the gun, you can kind of replace it. The S.H. Figuarts version does include the adrenaline pen, which of course he uses in the final battle when he stabs it into his leg and takes out the final Riddler. And for an extra bonus accessory, the Mafex one does include the flare in hand, which again is a memorable scene in the movie towards the end. For the S.H. Figuarts one, it does not include one. However, you can take this kind of gadget out of his utility belt, which kind of looks like his flare, or it could be a torch. It could be either one, but you can kind of use it as an alternative look by placing it in the hand. Of course, it doesn't look as good as the Mafex one, so definitely Mafex wins in terms of this extra accessory. So now for my final verdicts on the Batman S.H Figuarts and the Mafex editions. Both are good figures in their own way in terms of the looks and how they represent the Caped Crusader in the film. I do however think the Mafex one has the better proportion overall, and it also has a bit more accuracy to the head sculpt, and of course it has the better cape. The S.H Figuarts one has a decent arm rust look, but the Mafex one also includes one with a bit more accuracy to the Bruce Wayne look, and of course it does include two in total, and not forgetting a cowl on its own. The Mafex one also has the aggressive face sculpt with the cowl, which is great with the rest of the gadgets. The S.H Figuarts one has its weapons like the launchers and bat knife, but so does the Mafex one, and whilst the To Machinations does include the handcuff, I definitely prefer the alternative accessories in the Medicom one, which is the gun and the flare. So overall I do rate the S.H Figuarts a 6 out of 10. It is the cape that's the main letdown, and I have to give the Mafex one a 9 out of 10, being the almost complete one with many more options to pose with. So this was just an overview of both of the figures together. You can see the full detailed reviews of both the figures with the links in the description. Also check out my head swap I did with both of these figures, as well as the other content related to the S.H Figuarts and Mafex lines. Like and comment in terms of these Batmans, as well as the brands S.H Figuarts and Mafex, and thanks for watching.